Right, so I wanted to run through really quick some of the assignments going forward for the class. So there's basically two models that you'll be working on, and they stretch over a few weeks. So basically, like model 1, you'll be doing part of it this week, part of it next week, part of it the week after, and then you'll be repeating that again with model 2. So the basic overview for the sort of modeling assignments that are non-final related is you'll be given a series of reference images to use. And you can, I have a few different objects. Basically pick an object that you'll be using for all of the Model 1 assignments, and then you're going to pick a new object for all of the Model 2 assignments. So it's just sort of grade breakdowns, and like I said, basically you'll just be recreating those objects. So for this week, you have Model 1, the model part, and I have a link to a Google Drive with the provided orthographics in it. I will be adding one or two more to these, but you can go in and just see there's a bunch of different stuff, in here, depending on whatever you need. Some of these are actually from previous classes. The ones that you are quote-unquote allowed to do for this assignment are the ones that are listed here. So do make sure again that you're just picking from one of these objects. And again, all the orthographic stuff are here. If you have issues with any of them, do let me know. But they should be good to go. And let's see here. Yes, so basically just recreate it with as much detail as possible. For this assignment, I don't necessarily care if the model is to scale or not, but it should be, proportioned correctly. So I don't care if it's basically like a, 2mm tall power drill, as long as it is very obviously a power drill and could be scaled up if you needed to. So again, really focus on adding as much detail to the models as possible. Some of these have text on them, but if there's text, just don't worry about that. You can texture that on later. Yeah, and that's basically the assignment for this week. So I know a few of you if you hit the 3 key in Maya, so I have a cube. So this is 1 in the bad timers. So this is unsmooth mode. If you press the 3 key, it'll smooth your object, so don't worry about that for this week. That's the Model 2 assignment. We'll get to smoothing. So for now, if any of your stuff ever smooths, just hit 1 and make sure it's unsmoothed. Also, if you guys are already familiar with smooth modeling, you're welcome to do that as extra practice, but it is not required for this week. So again, you can just stick with the hard modeling. And just as a weird sort of, potential extra credit bonus opportunity, only valid for this week, you could basically redo the assignment just with there's a few simpler objects in here, like an X-Acto knife and a pencil sharpener and all of that good stuff. So you can basically just redo the assignment with these objects. I do have some relevant tutorials that I will be posting in the, where am I going with this? In the group week 2 playlist is what I'm going for. For the X-Acto knife in particular, modeling knurling would be a good one to watch. But yeah, so that's an option if you want to, again, model an extra assignment, or an extra object from this list down here. All of those orthographics are also found in the Google Drive folder, wherever the heck that is in my tabs. Cough. Alright, so things to focus on for the base assignment and or the extra credit. And with the extra credit, so that is not something you'll be using going forward in this class. You can use it as background objects for whatever, but like I said, it's not something that I will be expecting to ever see again after this, and you should not use it for the rest of the Model 1 assignments. Alright, so things to focus on. Make sure, obviously, you should be able to tell what the object is. It should match reference as closely as possible, so I have taken all of these reference images myself. I usually handle these objects very frequently, so I do know what they look like. And then consideration should be shown for edge flow and silhouette. Silhouette, as long as you're following the reference, you should be fine. Edge flow, basically for this, don't use booleans. I'm not really going to super go over booleans, but mesh, boolean, don't use these guys. They make terrible, terrible edge flow, and there's a time and place for using them, but this is not necessarily that place. And then your model shouldn't be extremely high or low poly, and by that mostly I just mean don't, so for example on this cube, an example of an unnecessarily high poly cube, if I can get back into my channel box, okay. So if you literally just have a cube, this is a very unnecessarily high poly cube. Like, these are doing absolutely nothing to shape the cube. So it's really overkill to have these there. On the flip side, I guess like a sphere is usually a good example of somewhere where there's, not quite enough polys. So like this is a super crazy low poly sphere, and if you're doing like a game model or something like that, having these lower poly spheres isn't necessarily bad. But these aren't really game models, so there should be, enough resolution where it doesn't look, like something like that even is like definitely better, where you look at it and it's not overtly spiky, basically on the edges from not having enough polys. So what that means is really dependent on the model itself, but just try to keep that in mind as you work on things. And then again, try to avoid stuff with like broken geometry, n-gons, that kind of thing. I'll be going over some more of that in the videos for this week. Point breakdown, basically this is worth 4 points. I don't have a more specific breakdown than that. And then what to submit, one simple render of the model, similar to what you did on the room assignment. And I will be having some more information on, sampling and some other things, as well as just like, making a super quick backdrop to throw stuff on. I do not want to see anything rendered like over nothingness. Like if you were to render this now, there's no ground plane. Don't do that. Put some kind of, plane or something in the background. Like I said, I'll have a little video for that. It's nothing super crazy fancy. And then a Maya file with the most up-to-date model in it, as well as one screenshot of your model with wireframe and shaded view enabled. So basically for that, all I would really want is make sure your outline is open and visible. Stuff should be named better than this. And then just turn on this little button here, this blue square with the outline. This is going to show your wireframe. And you can also, I personally like to turn on also screen space, ambient occlusion, and the anti-aliasing button. Anti-aliasing is nice, like if you focus on the sort of grid lines here, once I turn that on, they just get a little bit smoother and like less pixelated. So I just turn that on. It's a nice viewing thing if your computer can handle it for normal working even. And then literally just screenshot this whole screen. That's all you need. So that, a render, and a Maya file is really all you should submit for this. And again, please do not zip any of these files. And if you were doing the extra credit, you would just submit both of these, like one of each of these things for the extra credit as well. Yeah, that's pretty much the modeling assignment.